Arg! I did forget all about that. Look, your baldness. Look how deliciously obvious it is that they lack the evidence to rival mine. Wow, he sliced our third-person theory to ribbons and served it to us just like that. Yes, well, I have a question of my own, actually. That bullet that the mysterious figure shot. What did it hit exactly? It hit me. So does that mean you're a ghost? Yes. All this time, Yuri Cosmos was actually Maya, channeling Yuri Cosmos' spirit. Of course. I was wondering when you would realize it's your baldness. Director Cosmos is an authentic, bona fide ghost. He can even pass through walls. Eek!
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, shame on you for teasing the nice old gentleman. Your baldness. It was all in jest. A ruse. A jape. Please show yourself again. Are you sure? In that case, how did you manage to survive being shot, Director Cosmos? I'm glad you asked. It was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. Did I notice that before? Did I? Maybe not. The bullet hit my glorious Medal of Honor, whereby it ricocheted, thus saving my life. What? 10 caliber is a pretty small bullet. That's fine. That's unbelievable. Oh wait, are there only supposed to be 3 stars? I thought it hit one of the stars. Look at that, there's one extra Gaxa star. The odds are literally astronomical. I guess it really was a miracle. It's beginning to really feel like the Cosmos is watching out for Director Cosmos. But why did you conceal this information, Director Cosmos? A great man such as myself has to hide things on occasion, no matter how much it hurts. It is the plight of the truly great. It may be hard for this generation to understand. I don't know, but it sounds fishy to me. What else is he hiding? Let's just cross-examine him and see what we can find out. Now then, Mr. Wright, your cross-examination, please. What I really saw at the scene. Allow me to amend my testimony. Rush to the control room together.
Hold it!
So, in other words, you were fired at while you were at the control room door. That is correct. There's something not quite right about that. Director Cosmos, the bullet this person fired hit you, isn't that right? Yes, it was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet the figure fired hit me while I was in the control room, but as the Cosmos would have it, the bullet bounced off my glorious Medal of Honor. Yeah, because the bullet should have wound up somewhere around the control room door. We don't know that. It could have fallen to the floor and then got kicked over there. Okay, all you're doing is repeating what was just said. He's a very lucky man. No wonder people think he's great. Yeah, I'm pretty lucky myself, so if he's a great man, then I'm the king of all Cosmos. South wall.
Objection!
This really isn't a contradiction. The bullet could have wound up over there by other means. A great man like me tell a lie? Have you ever heard of such a thing in all of history? My accusation is based on the positions of the people who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arm were near the control room door, and the mysterious figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge. If, as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from this position, then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. However, we found the 10 caliber bullet here. Oh. This trajectory and where the bullet was actually found contradict each other. Director Cosmos, where were you really when you were being shot at? Ladies and gentlemen, present to you the human merry-go-round.
Objection!
Don't tell me you've forgotten already. Didn't the witness himself just tell you the bullet hit his metal? Of this, there is no mistake. But in that case, the bullet should have been found near the... No. Yes, okay. The bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say you can explain this inconsistency? Of course. I didn't think so. What? Oh, great Director Cosmos. Yes? Is there something you'd like me to expound upon? You were, in fact, not in the control room to the east, were you? You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south, is that not right? Gah! What are you getting at? Use your own brain. Your head must have some use other than housing that bird's nest. It's your bird. Bird's nest? Why does everyone pick on my hair? Director Cosmos and the detective witnessed the scene from the southern door. The killer fired at them there, and that is why the bullet was found, in the south. Ah, that makes some sense, actually. Also, the witness being at the southern door is rather favorable for the prosecution. Huh? Got a bad feeling about this. How about it, Director, if you don't tell the truth this time? Oh no! Yikes! His handcuffs! You will become but rust upon my sword. I relish the chance to cut down a great man. Alright, I'll tell the truth. Just put your sword away. You are correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos, was looking into the room from the southern door. Why must you lie? Why do you turn my stream into a den of lies? That's the complete opposite of all the testimony he's given so far. And now you've lost your possibility that a third person was in the room. I have? How? The director and the detective were near the southern door. Meaning the killer couldn't have escaped through there. The western door required print recognition. The corridor beyond was filled with smoke. The only escape route left was the eastern control room door. And the only way to get through there was with Director Cosmos' fingerprints. Hack! In short, there would be no escape for any third person had there been one. My third person just disappeared. Like in one of Trucy's magic tricks. Or Umineko. There was no 17th person on the island. Order. Order in the court. No, wait, it was 19th. 19th person. Director Cosmos, why did you tell such an outrageous lie? I am in a Phoenix Wright game. You are covering for the defendant, isn't that right? Yes. It was all for the love of my men. If I said I was in the eastern control room, it would mean that the culprit could have escaped through the southern door. It would have meant that there could have been a third person. All I wanted to do was protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person. What a convoluted lie. Is he really covering for the defendant? It looks like we've come to a conclusion. That the defense's argument, the possibility of a third person, has crumbled. No! It's over. Yikes. The judge is about to hand down his verdict. Think, Phoenix, think! This is the perfect time to try and Gyakten Saiban. Chasuban Kurikaishite. If a third person had no way of escaping the scene, then what if one of the people at the scene was this third person? Wait, what if the whole premise is all wrong? What if Detective Arm was really Clay Tarrant in disguise? Director Cosmos said that he and Detective Arm rushed to the scene together. But what if that premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other? And if that person entered the lounge, they would be the third person. The defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot at the director. There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. I will now render my verdict.
Objection!
Please wait, Your Honor. There is still one possibility. Oh, this had better be good, Mr. Wright. There is one and only one person who could have escaped from the scene, and that person would be the first person who arrived on the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room, using an escape route that was accessible only to them. Oh, they're gonna say that Yuri... He's saying Yuri was the actual shooter. Let's hear more about this theory. She doesn't have access.
Take that!
What? But that's... Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here? Of all the people who were at the scene, only the witness could have escaped. The director is the only one with the authority to open the control room door, after all. But that means... Exactly. The true identity of the third person is our current witness. Director Yuri Cosmos. What? What? Order in the court, I say. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself in more detail. I assert that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arm, and entered the boarding lounge alone. Detective Arm arrived after that, and saw a suspicious figure who was actually Director Cosmos, standing in the lounge. That's why she fired those 2 warning shots. I've been hit on the starboard side. The larboard side is still fine, though. Captain Wright, it's a direct hit on the enemy ship, sir. A magnificent shot. Warning shots fired from the enemy ship. Prepare to intercept. Cosmos, you've told a lie in this court once again. I've been hit on the larboard side. The enemy has called in reinforcements. Earth to Cosmos Control Center, requesting permission to ask that you return to reality. My ship will not go down to anything less than the ultimate weapon of evidence.
Objection!
But I do have evidence. In fact, you could say that your battleship bears its scar. If Director Cosmos is the third person Aura Blackwell saw, this third person fired at Director Cosmos with her gun. In return, the detective fired her warning shot. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Flashing. Looks like you've deduced my miraculous terrorist event. Okay, you're absolutely correct. Okay. Director Cosmos must have been the one who fired the 10 caliber gun. When Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge, it only makes sense that he would have turned and shot at her. Therefore, the evidence on the director's body is of a different relevance than before. Once we compare it against another piece of evidence, The mark that you received from the third party will be all the proof we need to prove that you were the one there in the lounge. Brace for further impact. Uh-oh. What does this mean? Comparison against this piece of evidence. It's worded in such a weird way. Comparison against this piece of evidence will prove that you were the one in the lounge. Are we gonna say that... Did he shoot the oxygen tank and she shot the... She hit him and it bounced off?
Take that!
Yes. The 38 caliber bullet found on the floor at the scene didn't hit the oxygen tank. It hit Director Cosmos' metal. If we have that ricochet mark, get the hell out of here. You're gonna analyze the ricochet mark on the metal. And if that mark proves to be from a 38 caliber bullet, it will prove that you are the third person we've been looking for. Gah! The bridge is destroyed, losing altitude. All hands abandon ship. If that's true, then what about the bullet that hit the oxygen tank? It was the 10 caliber bullet. In other words, it was a bullet fired by Yuri Cosmos. Isn't that right, Director? No, you've got it all wrong. What? The engines have started again? It's a miracle. I'm not going down yet. Witness, stop this at once and confess the truth. If you don't want the history books to say that a great man was a great liar, then accept your fate and tell the truth. Are you giving me orders? Me, the great director of the Cosmos Space Center? God, but the cosmos revolves around me. Ah! Somebody get me off this thing. Order! Order in the court, and will someone stop the witness from spinning? Phew. Thank goodness we were able to stop him from spinning off the face of the earth. While he was twirling, I took the liberty of running an analysis on the mark of the metal. Sure, you can do that in the time that it takes for a Segway to stop spinning. It was made by a 38 caliber bullet, matching it with the size of Detector Arm's firearm. Are you ready to confess the truth, witness? No, you've got it all wrong. This is just a misunderstanding. Is he going to start piling on more lies? It looks like it. But no matter how many lies he tells, I'll just expose them one by one. I'll make that big liar tell the truth. Oh, we got a break in the middle of the trial. Save and keep going. We kind of flew through that. I wonder if it's conceivable that we'll actually finish this court this day in court today, in the next 45 minutes. That would be good. Then we'll have some time. Again, I'm going to do an extra stream tomorrow in hopes that case 5, of course, is going to be long. Why wouldn't it be? But the hope is that we will be able to get through all of that by 2 weeks from today, because that's when I'll start Somnium Files. Director Cosmos, a new possibility has been presented by the defense. They are claiming that you were this third person. Forgive me. I'm so sorry. So the great pioneer of space development is revealed to be just another fabulist cur. I don't know what fabulist means. I have only one question for the likes of you. Shall I send you off quickly or very quickly? Ah! The evidence doesn't lie, Director Cosmos, so don't try to talk your way out of this. Fine. I'll tell the truth. It's all just as you say, Mr. Wright. The one who spins fables. Oh, Now I'll look it up. A person who invents or relates fables. A liar. It's true that I was in the boarding lounge. I got there before Detective Arm, and when she arrived, she fired warning shots at me. I was afraid people would mistake me for the killer, so I escaped to the control room. Then I went past the elevators and all the way around to the boarding lounge 1 again. I came up behind Detective Arm and pretended to be the second on the scene. You know darn well what my native language is. It's Japanese and German. What a troublesome old man you are, with such convoluted deeds and thoughts. I see. So then, are you still insisting that you did not kill the victim? Of course I am. When I arrived at the lounge alone, I saw the true killer. The great Yuri Cosmos was a history-making witness. Now hold on just one moment. We just proved a few minutes ago that the third person that Mr. Starbuck and Ms. Aura Blackwell saw was you. No, it wasn't me. I saw the person as well. If I were the killer, why would I lie to cover for Starbuck? I would just leave him to take the fall. That is an excellent point. We got a flashback to 15 minutes ago. Well, it makes some sense if he told those lies to cover for Mr. Starbuck. Still, a lie's a lie, Athena. So Director Cosmos claims he's not the culprit, but where's the proof? I just remembered. I just remembered. Allow me to amend my testimony. Ms. Blackwell said that she saw the killer at 10 a.m., correct? Yes, and? Well, I was on the 4th floor helping with the evacuation effort. Ask any member of the staff you like. They'll corroborate me. I have lots of creds. I'm juggling my creds, all 3 of them. The director is not fibbing to the court for once. I confirm that he has an alibi for the time specified. So you're claiming that Ms. Blackwell saw the killer commit the crime first at 10 a.m. and that you arrived at the lounge after that? Yes, and I believe the person I saw is the same person that Miss Blackwell saw. Although it was pitch black, so it was more of a shadowy figure and less of a person. I couldn't actually see their face, but it was definitely the silhouette of an earthling. As long as he has an alibi, we can't very well claim Director Cosmos was the killer. No, we can't. Then again, maybe we don't need to yet. I wonder if he was really covering for Mr. Starbuck. Your Honor, the defense moves to have the director testify about the person he saw. Very well. Director Cosmos, your testimony, please. What I really witnessed. We need... Hold on. We need about 4 more reallys in here. What I really witnessed. As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer fired a gun at me. I hid to avoid getting shot. When I tried to get another look, they vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side of the door, and, well, the launch pad 1 door and the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. So you were shot at by the killer as well, and then they disappeared? Yes, though luckily no harm came to my glorious body. Unfortunately, the bullet hit Terran's oxygen tank. I know because I heard a pang. It must have been the sound of the tank being ruptured. Wait, but I thought the bullet hit his metal. That was Detective Arm's bullet, remember? Right. What a mess this is turning into. So let's see. Director Cosmos is claiming he just claimed it. We don't need you to claim it too. The culprit shot a 10 caliber bullet at him, right, but it actually hit Mr. Terran's oxygen tank and ruptured it. Then the killer disappeared, and the director went into the boarding lounge. When Detective Arm caught up and fired those warning shots at him, judging by his medal, it looks like one of them almost took him out, too. Good summary, but that doesn't explain where our mystery killer went. If it was a warning shot, how did it hit him in the center of mass? Director Cosmos, I was wondering if you could elaborate on when the figure disappeared. I'm ashamed to admit I tried to hide myself when I was shot at, but when I peeped back into the lounge, the real killer was gone. I rushed into the lounge straight away to investigate. But what I found was Terran with a knife in his chest and Starbuck out cold on the floor. So we have a culprit who vanished from a scene that had no escape route. Vanished without a trace. It's truly like one of the great mysteries of the cosmos. A riddle of the ages indeed, but I'd rather know how a fibbing leech such as you can be lauded as great. A great man is always misunderstood in his own time, but he must remain true to himself even if those around him don't understand. Wow, that might be the first true statement he said all day. But how do you suppose this person managed to vanish so suddenly? Simple, because it was Spaceboy himself. When he was spotted by the director at Aura, he quickly feigned unconsciousness. That would certainly take all the mystery out of the idea of a vanishing culprit. I want to raise an objection, but I don't have any counter-evidence. Director Cosmos, when you saw this person, did you also see Mr. Starbuck on the floor? No, because it was dark as a black hole in there. I didn't see Starbuck until the other person vanished and I entered the room. That wasn't exactly helpful. I'm prepared to accept your surrender, Wright, Donald. I can't find any holes in this testimony, but I can't give up. Mr. Wright, why don't you let me help? Huh? While the director was giving his testimony, I detected a cacophony of discord. Which means he's hiding his true feelings from us, huh? This just might help us find out what happened to our vanished killer. That'd be great, Athena. Let's see what you can do with him. You got it, boss. I wouldn't want to miss this chance to delve into a great mind. Yuri Cosmos, prepare to hand over the secrets of your heart to me. We're stealing hearts. You never see it coming. As I tried to enter the lounge, the true killer inside fired a gun at me. It shouldn't be making you sad, I don't think. I hid to avoid getting shot. When I tried to get another look, they had vanished into thin air. I was near the elevator side door, and, well, the launch pad 1 door, and the control room door should have been shut tight to the killer. Talk about mixed feelings. He must be trying to account for a number of contradictions. Mr. Wright, maybe this time we shouldn't just look for contradictory emotions. We should also look for emotions that should be there but aren't. I guess it shouldn't be a surprise that his mind is a convoluted place too. He must have felt very shaken and distressed at the time. Let's focus on the fluctuations in his emotions and see what we can uncover. Okay, so the hint is that we should be looking for emotions that he didn't have. Fired a gun. Then he hid. They had vanished into thin air. He should be surprised at that. You must have thought it was very strange that the killer vanished into thin air. I did. That kind of thing just doesn't happen, usually. And yet at that time you barely registered any shock at the occurrence. What? Why are you... I can only think of one reason as to why you weren't surprised by the killer's vanishing act. You must have had a good idea of where they went. Isn't that right? What? No, of course not. That's preposterous. Only I can enter the control room. And the area beyond the launch pad door was filled with smoke, making it impassable. As for the southern door, I was standing right there. So there was nowhere for the killer to run to. Maybe or maybe not. You went into the room to check on Mr. Starbuck and Mr. Tarrant, yes? What if the culprit took that opportunity to silently slip out through the southern door? I highly doubt it. As you recall, right after I entered the lounge... Detective On came rushing towards it herself via the southern hallway. Anyone trying to escape through there would have been caught by her. And yet the director wasn't surprised the killer vanished. So you're absolutely sure there was no escape route for the culprit to use. It's working, boss. One more punch and it'll be a knockout. We didn't even need to use our whip or sword that are allowed in court. We didn't even need to hit him in the head with a coffee cup. There seems to be one more emotion that's at odds with his testimony. Go get him. Back in the Matrix it is. Time to pinpoint our way to victory. Correct me if I'm wrong, but you seem to be afraid of the launch pad door. The great Yuri Cosmos? Afraid? And what basis do you have for that outlandish accusation? Psychology. It's called a magic robot hand necklace glove. Whether I have any basis or not, you seem quite distressed by it. I'm most certainly not. Director Cosmos, there is something about the launch pad door you're not telling us, isn't there? Gah! Wow, he's speechless. It looks like you hit the nail on the head, boss. I'll just input those two pieces of data and... Yes, just what I wanted to see. Presto changeo. Less discord. It looks like we're on the right track. Thanks, Athena. Now to make sense of what we've learned. Director Cosmos wasn't surprised that the culprit suddenly vanished from the lounge, which points to the possibility that he knew where the killer had escaped to. Furthermore, talking about the door to the launchpad made him uneasy. In other words, he's probably hiding something about the launchpad 1 door. When we put these two pieces together, only one solution to this puzzle comes to mind. That door was open? The culprit went through the launchpad 1 door to escape, didn't they? Yes. I mean, no. Disaster to starboard! We're going to crash into an asteroid! A master tactician you are not. But the area beyond that door was filled with smoke, wasn't it? But what if the killer was a robot? True, but this is still the only logical answer there is. If we can just figure out what the director is hiding about the Launchpad 1 door, we should be able to iron out the logical consistencies. But that door requires fingerprint recognition. Only Starbuck, Terran, and I have access. I don't see how the killer could have opened that security lock. Do you? That's an easy one. The killer was right there in the boarding lounge. Meaning, there's a way he could have easily gotten past that security lock. Come to think of it, we did examine the prints on the fingerprint recognition device. I propose that the killer used this person's fingerprints to get past the security lock. Well, wait, we know who's, shoot. I can't look at the thing? Didn't we examine it and we saw whose prints were on it? I think it was him.
Take that!
Right? Wasn't it? That's... Mr. Starbuck was lying unconscious there in the boarding lounge. Anybody could have easily gotten past the security lock by using Mr. Starbuck's prints. And actually, Mr. Starbuck's prints are exactly what we found on the device's screen. Ah! It looks like he does have something to hide about the Launchpad 1 door, and I'm betting it's got something to do with the culprit's escape route. But I don't have enough information to see the whole picture yet. You know, something just occurred to me. Would you like to hear it? Huh? Yes, by all means. There's a security camera in the boarding lounge 1. Right, the one that recorded the victim and the defendant. What about it, Your Honor? If the true culprit escaped into the Launchpad 1 corridor, then that might be recorded on the security footage as well. Then the mystery would be solved. What do you think of my logic? I hope you didn't strain your faculties too much for that, your baldness. I beg your pardon? Look, if we play the security footage beyond this point... Bzzzt. Oh my! The footage cuts off. The camera was running on backup power, but apparently the power cables were damaged. Most likely by the after effects of the explosion. There is no footage after this, be it of criminals or space aliens. And I thought it was such a good idea, too. Just because your grandchild is watching from the gallery, it doesn't mean you should try to show off too much, Grandpa Baldness. Prosecutor Blackwell, how did you know about my grandchild? How could I have grandchildren if I don't have children? Stupid. Stupid. Absolutely no idea of the English language. I think his grandchild just learned a little about the harshness of the adult world. Setting aside the issue of grandchildren, I'd like to have the witness continue. Director Cosmos, could you tell us more about when you entered the lounge? If I must. I hid to avoid getting shot. After the killer vanished, I went into the lounge. But that's when Detective Arm approached from the elevator side door. And the detective shot at me. So you see, the killer could have only escaped through the launch pad, right? What do you think about Director Cosmos' emotional responses? Give me my hint. Actually, my cat is really Since when do you have a cat? Also, who cares? Don't tell me about it. Oh, I'm very sorry to hear that. I'm really not. On top of that, my dog just doesn't seem to want to play with me. Get a hold of yourself. Why are you telling me all this now? Just humor me, okay? Now, when you heard about my cat, and then about my dog, which story made you... What? What? Strategy cat, of course. Both of them were 0. Actually, it was happiness. I was happy that your pets are injured and sad. That would be the natural reaction. But there's nothing natural about the director's reactions. I think how each individual reaction changes across the whole testimony will be the key. What? Sounds unnaturally complicated. Alright, I hid to avoid getting shot. Big sad. Big mood. After the killer vanished... Or I guess this is also scared. Not just sad, but scared. I went into the lounge. That's when Detective Arm appeared from the elevator side. Big surprise. And then the detective shot at me. Little surprise. That doesn't make sense. Director Cosmos, why were you so surprised when Detective Arm found you? And again when she fired? Isn't that a bit unnatural? Sadly, even great men such as myself have ordinary human feelings. Our bodies are bound by the forces of gravity and emotions. Even a great man such as myself experiences surprise on occasion. Yes, I'm sure you do. But my real point is not the fact that you were surprised, but rather what you were surprised by. Pardon me? First, you were surprised when Detective Arm found you in the lounge. And just after that, you were, of course, again surprised when she shot at you. But considering what you were surprised about, a strange phenomenon occurs here. Director Cosmos, what is strange about your surprise reaction is the fact that you were more surprised when she came. Sure, you were surprised when Detective Arm shot at you, but the surprise you felt when she found you in the lounge was much greater. My psychology science robot hand glove necklace says so. The fact that you were more surprised by simply being found than by being shot at suggests to me that you were conflicted about whatever it was you were doing there. The enemy has acquired a new weapon. Commence Operation Hide Under Your Desk. Please tell me I finally sunk his battleship. No. Boss, I'm getting less Discord now. That must mean he really is hiding something about that launchpad door. And whatever he's hiding most likely has something to do with the killer's escape. I wonder what it could be. If he was doing something suspicious around that door, maybe we can spot some change between before he came to the room and after. Detective Fulbright gave us a photo taken after the crime. Let's run a comparison. Let's see. This is footage of the door before Director Cosmos arrived. And this is how the door looked after the director entered the lounge. Do I have those two pictures? The thing over here is different. It's vertical here and horizontal in the other picture. I don't remember what that is, though. Director Cosmos. What is it? What have you two been up to over there? Finding the answer to what you were doing when Detective Arm found you, that's what. And that answer lies clearly in this footage. All we have to do is compare it to the photo that was taken during the investigation. Don't be ridiculous. If you really do have an answer, you'd have pointed it out already. He's asking for it. This is what changed directly after the incident.
Take that!
The answer is this knob. Ah, that's... Your Honor, please take a look at this footage. Let's see. Take a look at the knob next to the launch pod door. As you can see, it's horizontal. Yes, it is, isn't it? However, when we investigated the scene of the crime yesterday, the knob was vertical. And what does that mean? It means that sometime between before the director arrived and after, someone turned this knob. After the scene was discovered, you were the only one who could have turned the knob. Come on now, Director Cosmos, let's hear what you have to say. What were you trying to do by turning that knob by the door? Fine, I admit it. You're right, I did turn that knob. That knob is a safety lock meant to keep the launch pad in place. I was afraid there would be more explosions, so I wanted to move the launch pad away. Wanted to do what? Hey, did Ponko tell us something about how they prepare for launch? She said that once the launch pad's fully assembled, it's moved to the launch site. But the safety lock in the boarding lounge has to be disengaged first. I guess that clears up what that knob is for. Oh, so if the killer escaped into the launch pad 1 corridor, maybe they were transported along with the launch pad to the launch site. I don't think so. The launch pad 1 corridor was filled with smoke. I don't think they could have escaped through that corridor. So then where did the killer escape to? I don't know. I guess there are some things we still have to uncover. Director Cosmos, I request that you tell us about moving the launch pad in more detail. Fine, but listen carefully, for I'm about to give history-making testimony. I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. He was a little happy, but very scared or anxious. I feared there might be more explosions, so I had to cut the launch pad loose. Surely, the only escape the killer had was through Launchpad 1. But that area was a sea of smoke. Confound it! Where on earth could they have gone? The director seems driven into a corner now. I can tell he's having a hard time hiding his true feelings. Just one final push, then. His attempts to conceal the truth shouldn't be all that hard for us to break through. If we keep at it calmly, I'm sure we'll cross the finish line. Yeah, what is this happiness? I had no choice but to disengage the safety lock. You make it sound like you were reluctant to do so, and yet when you did it, you felt some joy, as if you were very pleased with yourself. Ah! How do you do it? How do you know everything as if you were there? Pretty impressive, isn't it? This is the power of analytical psychology. So care to explain why you felt joy when you disengaged the safety lock? When I think back on the facts we've discovered up to this point, I have to believe that you were trying to fulfill some hidden agenda. No, he actually just really, really likes knobs. He's into that sort of thing. Ah! How do you know about that, too? Because I'm more or less a pro. You're guessing. You have no proof that I had a hidden agenda. Even if I did, I would never ever tell you, so there. I know they say people regress as they grow older, but you, sir, take the cake. And how could you doubt a man with such great intensity, intelligence, and integrity?
Silence.
You, a man of integrity? Don't make me laugh. Prosecutor Blackwell? What came over him all of a sudden? You've spouted nothing but falsities since you stepped up to the stand. You're not the kind of man that will be glorified in the annals of history. Not for greatness, anyway. Unless you consider greatest barefaced liar an honor. Liar! Gulp. His words bite harder than his blade. You moved Launchpad 1 after the explosions? My, how naive you are. You fail to realize how even the facts themselves have betrayed you. You know, just a thought, but modern English can be your friend. What? Was he speaking archaically just now? And here's the thought for you. Immediately following the bombing, Launchpad 1 was on the boarding lounge 1 side. The police confirmed this on scene. What? Liar! So that means the director didn't move the launch pad? Curse my judgment for calling history's greatest liar to the witness stand. Let us leave him to indulge in his lies and war games to his heart's content. My goodness, guy, stop. He's gonna run out of battery power soon. Is it solar powered? Does he have a solar powered Segway? But it doesn't make sense. You can't deny that someone turned that knob. And once the safety lock was released, I'm sure the pad must have went somewhere. If we chase down the truth of this issue, we just might find where the killer escaped to. Ag! You're sure it must have went somewhere. We just might find out. Your arguments are nothing but conjecture, bluffing, and wishful thinking. Stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is. Or are you not man enough to, boy? Talk about hitting below the belt. Youngins these days. I don't understand it. I'm sure Director Cosmos must have moved the launch pad. The knob was definitely turned after he came to the lounge. But the launch pad is right where it's supposed to be. Arg! So is it going to be that all of this actually happened with the launch pad on the completely other side? Wait a minute. Maybe I have the Chessbon Kurikaiste. What if the director turned the knob not to move the launch pad away, but to bring it back to where it was supposed to be? What are you blathering about? What if the launch pad was at the launch site before the incident? And then, after the incident, Director Cosmos moved it back to its usual spot. All he had to do was turn the knob to call the launch pad back. And it would be right where the police found it. Gah! What? He actually sliced one of my hairs. You made him sigh like Mr. Starbuck. Was what I said really that off base? It pains me to have to explain how wrong your own logic is to you, however. Our great liar turned the knob only after he discovered the crime scene. Indeed, the pad existed beyond the lounge. The pad existed beyond the lounge when our Astro Wonders made their escape. A fact that has been recorded for posterity on filmless film. Oh, right. So to reiterate, stop chasing your fantasies and see reality for what it really is. Boy. Get a grip, Mr. Wright, and focus. We know the launch pad must have been moved, but our deductions and the actual facts of the case are in direct contradiction to each other. Well, maybe the two astronauts never actually boarded the rocket. This footage could be fake, taken with body doubles after the incident or something. On second thought, that's too far-fetched, even for me. That would be violating Knox's Decalogue. Never actually boarded the rocket? Hey, wait a minute. Maybe, just maybe. Huh? Prosecutor Blackquill, what if I told you that the two astronauts never set foot inside the launch pad area, but instead went into another place? And what if, when the director moved the launch pad one back, it was not from the launch site, but from another place? What would you say then? I guess there is a replica rocket in the gift shop or whatever, and that's what actually... We'll find out if that's what they mean. Cut the existential bull or I'll cut you. Mr. Wright, you will explain yourself at once. I know I'm right. It was all the other way around from the beginning. Very well, Your Honor. Let me explain. Director Cosmos' reason for moving Launchpad 1 back was... This is something that I don't have an answer for yet. I don't have enough of a grasp on this situation. Like, does the Space Museum also rotate, I guess? Maybe that is it. He slammed because he wanted to switch it with some other place. I'm sorry, but did you say switch it? But what could he have possibly switched the launch pad with? Oh, you'd be surprised, Your Honor. All it takes is a little thinking outside the box, and the answer becomes clear as day. This is what was switched with Launchpad 1.
Take that!
Launchpad 1 was switched with the Space Museum. In the past, the Space Museum used to be Launchpad 2. It has all the same features as Launchpad 1 and can even be moved to the launch site, meaning the Space Museum and Launchpad 1 can also be switched with each other. You can't mean... The rocket the astronauts boarded was not the one in Launchpad 1. It was the one in the Space Museum. What? Boulder Dash! And yet it's the only explanation that accounts for every riddle and inconsistency. This is how the Space Center was just before the incident. See, we're coming up on 9 o'clock, and it seems like we're not going to finish the trial within the next couple of minutes. Because you never actually finish the case except by actually talking to the real killer and having them on the stand, and we don't yet. Unless are we still saying he is? Like, he seems too hilariously incompetent to be the real murderer. He might be. In any case, I don't think we're going to finish up in 8 minutes, and I don't want to go for a bit longer and then wind up like in the climax and have to go for an extra, 20 minutes or something like that. So I think we'll wrap up here. Good progress. Good hustle. All right, awesome. All right, so extra stream tomorrow, Wednesday, same time. We'll be finishing up this case, and I guess maybe starting episode... Well, not maybe. Starting episode 5. Maybe. And endeavoring to get through all of episode 5 before AI The Somnium Files launches on the 17th. So more Phoenix Wright tomorrow and Thursday, and... probably, just to try and make sure, I think we'll do it Saturday too, instead of Steven Sausage Roll.